to the Soda Fiend. Today we're going to take a little hop, a little jump, a little skip across the pond and half a continent while we're at it. Because we're going to the luxurious land of Scotland to have a classic, another classic that is a blank spot in the Soda Fiend's library of soda flavors. It is the notorious, the singular, the as yet unsampled in these parts. It's Irn Bru. And, here's a strong man holding the brew up from the iron, indeed, or the urn and the brew. Perhaps he's a stronger man than I. Perhaps not. We shall see. Perhaps I'll become Groundskeeper Willie, as is fabled to occur when a non-Scot drinks an Irn Bru. Or perhaps I'll become this little orange man who seems even more jaundiced than Groundskeeper Willie, perhaps due to his consistent diet of Irn Bru, which has some curious coloring agents, which we'll get to in a moment. So, Irn Bru. It's like old. Irn Bru as a name, meaning the two words iron and brew next to each other, first appeared during the soda fountain era of U.S. soda type of deal, where, at least according to the most current reports, a drink called Irn Bru was produced in 1889 by a company called Mass and Waldstein Chemical in New York City, and was widely copied, perhaps leading to not only the Scottish Irn Bru, but the various beverages called Irn Beer or Irn Bru worldwide, which you really do find quite widely scattered. Regardless, one of the people who started producing an Irn Bru, which was like a flavor, right, a popular flavor of soda, was Barr of Glasgow, or I suppose originally of Parkwood. And this was a couple of different bars who had bar in their name and went into business together, producing Irn Bru. And as of 1901, this was formally incarnate as a packaged and bottled beverage, which became known as Scotland's other national drink. One might imagine what the primary one would be. Now, due to some trademark changes that were different from ones I expected as a U.S. citizen, I was expecting the kind of jiggery pokery that we get in the United States to avoid the use of common words in trademark, not so much because of potential misunderstanding, but potential copying. This was a legal situation, which came due to the advent of some Scottish trademark law that prohibited the use of a term which would not technically be true in description of the product. Now, I'm not really sure at the moment whether that applies to the iron or the brew. I believe there is a tiny little component of iron in this beverage, although that is really just a kind of side effect of the coloring agent. So, this spelling change to Irn Bru, or Irn Bru, was made in 1948 and has continued to this day. Now, traditionally speaking, Irn Bru actually sells better than Coca-Cola in Scotland, with this only just beginning to show a waver of the needle in the past few years. This was in part due to some very creative advertising on the part of Barr and company, who employed some very creative people over the course of many years to sell Irn Bru. I will show only a single example here briefly, and hoping that Scrubbies won't get me for it. So either we'll be back very shortly or in just a few seconds.
Girders Irn Bru. Made in Scotland. From Girders.
As you can see, it might go kind of a long way if you produce the greatest television commercial ever made. That's all I'm saying about that. But I feel that this drink demands a certain approach, so we're actually going to give Mr. Ice Bucket a pass today, and even our friendly glass is going to step aside, because this is the kind of experience that I believe demands the Frosty Mug. So, we got us a cold Irn Bru here, nice and cold, like if a snowman took you by the hand and then threw you from the sky, which I will leave you to look up on your own. Now, this is an American Irn Bru, which is distributed by Great Scott International in North Carolina, and I believe we've got an Irn Bru here, which is made to FDA regulations rather than Scottish ones, because we see there is not specifically a red flavoring agent, which is found in Scotland, which is a Ponso 4R red, which I believe is kind of a controversial coloring agent, but we do have the Sunset Yellow, which FCF, which in the United States is called Yellow 6, or really, I don't know where, worldwide, perhaps. Where do the color numbers all apply? I don't know. I am but a Soda Fiend. Anyway, the Sunset Yellow is present in the American configuration of Irn Bru, and what I can tell you gives the game away that this is made to American and not Scottish regulations, is that there was recently a change in Irn Bru to conform with some what I will politely call soda paranoia legislation in Scotland, which, in order to comply and avoid certain tax regulations, a certain portion of the sugar sweetening of Irn Bru has been replaced in Scotland with aspartame. Now, whether or not you're going to replace your sweetener is one thing. I personally think that aspartame is a highly inferior choice if you're going to do so. With sucralose or even cyclamate beating it out pretty soundly. But that's not my call to make, and luckily I don't have to worry about it, because it seems that the United States still gets classic Irn Bru, at least for the moment. And so we have in the 16.9 ounce bottle a 52-gram sugar count, which equates to about 3.08 grams per ounce, or 36.9 grams for the 12-ounce bottle standard to the United States, which comes out a little lower than Coca-Cola or Pepsi, actually. So this is a relatively low sugar content soda. It's down there with like a Hansen's or a Blue Sky, something that's kind of touting a low sugar content, although not being a diet soda. Don't really know what that means, but this cup's getting warm, so I better go ahead and twist and pour. Our bottle cap today is a sadly unremarkable plastic because I was unable to achieve or acquire Irn Bru in a glass bottle. Sad day for all. Sad day for the Soda Fiend. Still, it is a bottle cap. Taking a pour. Might as well take a nice big one because I think I'm just going to run with this. And Irn Bru from American Eyes, or Taste Buds. Got a sort of bubblegum scent. Definitely not flavor, though. Now, Irn Bru is a multi-blend, kind of like Dr. Pepper. It's got like 34 flavoring elements in it. Quinine is in there, and caffeine. But they're pretty secretive about the rest of them, so just going on intuition here. It's a very unique beverage. I don't quite know yet what to make of it. It's curious. The flavor is very strong when it's in your mouth, but it's very vanishing. There's almost no aftertaste to Irn Bru. If I was to venture a guess, I would say there's some banana oil in this flavor. Boy, it's really elusive, though. Oh, I bet Scottish people are just laughing their asses off right now because this is such a familiar flavor, but it's a complete mystery to me. I've never had this before like 30 seconds ago. I feel like my eyes are being opened to this whole experience of Earth to which I've been not deliberately ignorant, but nonetheless uninformed. Wow. It's right in there with a cola or Dr. Pepper in terms of being singular as a flavor. If there was going to be an American beverage I would point to that has any similarity to this, it would be Big Red, but it's not. I am mystified, Scotland, by your chilly beverage, informed perhaps by the flavor of steel and the weather that challenges. What is this Irn Bru? I have it in my body, and still I don't know. This beverage is so very unique. I would recommend a try for anyone who enjoys soda, because, not so much because I am really enjoying this experience, which, all told, I'm not really sure whether I'm supposed to be enjoying it, but I'm having it, and I don't know, it's pretty good, it's alright, it's kind of a thing. It's Irn Bru. What can you say? It's an utterly unique soda flavor. Never had anything like it. The bulk of the flavor comes on the last swallow. And boy, I'm damned if I could tell what it is. I'm just going to say girders. Made from girders, just like they said. I'm going to finish her off. Got a few more. I'll be taking a taste of Irn Bru periodically. Might come back with another report. Boy, this is elusive, though. This is like a whole different... Oh, it's not a world, it's sort of a country. Not even a big one. What's the mystery, I wonder? But, you know, Irn Bru has me a little baffled. The smell is bubblegummy, but it ain't. It's something else. Oh, what is this mystery called Irn Bru? It is what it is, I suppose. Just an Irn Bru, floating in the wilderness, sprouting cities from its very strength and fire. The sunset contained in a soda. Maybe that's what this flavor is. Maybe it's the flavor of a Scottish sunset that you're observing with a special one, maybe on a special day, just before it starts really, really raining and completely ruins your week, you know? But that one moment when the sunset is just beautiful, right? That's Irn Bru. It's a strength, but it's a strength that's not born of softness. It is Irn Bru. From a perspective... burped myself Scottish there. From a strict perspective, this is not a heavily carbonated beverage, at least provided that what I have here is fresh. Never really know when you're ordering stuff, but the date on this is recent, so I think I'm good. I think I'm getting a fairly decent representation. And indeed, the American Irn Bru configuration, what is this? It may actually be the more authentic now? Oh, I hate to say such a thing. That's very reachy, but, you know, with the configuration having changed in Scotland, but not here, although it was altered here in the first place to conform with FDA, yeah, I don't know. This color is like no other beverage, though. That is, it's the flavor of steel. What can you do? You just drink it. All right. So that's an Irn Bru. Still a little baffled, but I suppose I knew I would be. Just wanted to come back for a little wrap-up thought before I wrap up this bottle of Irn Bru, which was, you know, a little larger than my typical 12-ounce bottle. So not too surprised that I'm a little stymied by the very end of it. Essentially what I'm going to conclude about Irn Bru, and I will be coming back to it, I think. Although, since I'm in possession of a full six-pack, I don't know whether this is going to equate to another purchase or not. But what I'm going to come down to with Irn Bru is it kind of shows its age. It tastes like it is from the turn of the 20th century, before soda as a whole started selling itself entirely on flavor. It used to be that soda in those days... younger people may have a lot of difficulty believing this, but it was actually sold as a health tonic. Much like, I don't know, some supplement or thing that you're probably doing today that people 80 years from now are going to be completely horrified by. So, there are some remnants of this era of soda. They kind of are few and far between, but I think Irn Beer may be one of, or Irn Bru, I should say, maybe one of them, and the other prominent one I would point out would be Moxie, where they're maybe not supposed to taste that good deep down, because you're supposed to be kind of enduring them in the name of health, because that's what you do to earn health points with, like, the gods, is you endure things that will make you live longer because you endured something and proved something to, like, the spirit world that you were willing to do it. I'm just speculating here about that. But I think there's a little bit of a remnant there. Or maybe. Anyway. Maybe I'm just making all of that up. It really is just based on perception and a little bit of experience with the history of soda here in the United States, and knowing how it evolved from the seltzers and plain soda waters of the 17th century in Europe. There's something tough about Irn Bru. It's not playing. So go in if you're interested. You may find it rewarding. You may indeed. All right, signing off for real now.